My family. Me, 27M. Fiancée L, 26F. My father, B, 52M. My mother, R, 50F. Like many others who've experienced something similar, I never thought this could happen to me. But here we are. I've never used Reddit before, but I've seen stories from here on TikTok, so I decided to reach out for any advice I might get. From what I've heard in other stories, you like to know how it all started. I'll try to be as clear and accurate as possible, but it's only been a week. If I start to get confused in the telling, please forgive me. I met Elle during our first year of college. We lived in the same building, which is where we eventually met. We later found out we lived 2 towns apart, so whenever we went home, I'd let her ride with me. It only added 20 minutes to the trip, no big deal. After a few rides and spending time together in college, we started dating. Both our families are close-knit, so we told them right away. I'd seen her family many times when giving her rides, but it was nothing more than a hello and polite exchanges. Both families welcomed each other with open arms, and our relationship blossomed. I was a year ahead of her, so after graduating college, I moved back home, where I was offered a good job with an excellent salary. I visited her in college whenever I could, and when she came home, we made time for each other. After she graduated, she moved in with me as both our jobs were in the city, not far from where we grew up. Like me, she was offered a good position with excellent pay at the company where she still works. After living together for about 3 years, I proposed, and we started planning our wedding. Now on to what you've all been reading for. Looking back, I didn't pay much attention to many things I brushed off as my father, just making sure my ex was comfortable in our family. For example, my father constantly called her, and if I was around, they would just say they were discussing an upcoming family party or something. One day, Elle was in the shower and her phone rang. I saw it was my father and answered. When he realized it was me, he was both upset and surprised. I asked what was wrong, and he said he wanted to talk to Elle about my mother's birthday, which was in a week. And a minute later, we ended the call. Even as I type this now, I feel like an idiot for not noticing anything earlier. The day I found out was an ordinary day. Elle has Thursdays off, so she made us breakfast. As I was getting ready for work, she kissed me and wished me a good day. On my way to work, I realized I'd forgotten some papers I'd need for a meeting scheduled for 3 p.m. I shrugged and decided I'd pick them up at home during lunch. Elle texted me throughout the day about all the everyday things couples talk about. What do you want for dinner? I did the laundry. Do you want me to hang it up for you? Etc., etc. I didn't think it necessary to text her that I'd be coming home for lunch. So when the time came, I just left work and drove home. When I arrived, I noticed a car similar to my father's in our parking lot, but I didn't think anything of it. I just parked and went inside. When I opened the door, a scene from a movie unfolded before me, where a man comes home early and catches his spouse cheating. Such a cliché. Traces of his and her clothes led to the bedroom, and faint moans echoed through the apartment. I stood at the door in complete shock. My mind was a mix of rage, sadness, and disgust. But if you were a fly on the wall, you'd see I looked like a statue, unable to move. When I finally came to, not knowing how much time had passed, I took out my phone to record what was happening, picked up the clothes lying on the floor, and threw them into the hall. After that, I filmed my steps to the bedroom. The door was open. I stood in the doorway and filmed for about a minute, then turned on the light. They both jumped at the sudden light, looked at me, and to my utter shock, in bed with her was my father. When the stupor wore off, my father noticed I was recording. He started to panic, trying to find something to cover himself with and begging me to stop recording. He found a towel, wrapped it around himself, and started walking towards me. I told him that if he didn't want to get hurt, he shouldn't come near me. He either didn't care or didn't hear. He tried to grab my phone. I punched him square in the jaw. His head bounced off the door and slumped to the floor. Elle shrieked. I pointed the camera at her and asked, "Are you worried about your Fing lover but have nothing to say to your fiancé?" My father came to after being unconscious for a minute, and I told them, "I just stopped by to grab something for work, so I'm going back there right now, and if either of you pieces of are here when I get back, I'll send this video to everyone you know." I stopped filming, looked at my father who was still coming to, and said, "You're dead to me. You're no longer my father. But maybe you'll want to go home and talk to Mom, because I'll be talking to her very soon." I sat in my car for a long time until one of my bosses called and asked where I was. I replied that I was on my way back. Apparently I looked terrible when I got to her office, so she started asking what happened. I replied that nothing and that I would be fine. I saw her scan me from head to toe. She noticed blood on my collar, jumped up, rushed to me and said I was bleeding. I looked down and said it was my father's. She looked puzzled. Then I took out my phone and showed her the video. She watched the whole thing. She had seen Elle a few times, but never my father. She sat in silence for a while, until it dawned on her that my fiancé was cheating on me. And not just cheating, but with my father. She asked if there was anything I could do, offering me to take the day off, but I said I couldn't go back there now, that I needed a minute and I'd be ready for the meeting, and I had a spare shirt in my office. The meeting went fine. I put on a smile as if nothing had happened. After the meeting, my boss came up to me and asked how I was managing to hold up, but I just replied that I didn't know and went to my office. Then I went home, and for the first time in a long time, I was alone. Thank you for reading. Sorry for dumping so much, but it was therapeutic to write it all down. I just don't know what to do. I definitely need to get the hell out of this apartment. I just can't live here anymore, and there's no way I'm going to sleep in that bed again. I know that besides getting tested for STDs, I need to get my hand checked. I think I broke something.
Wow. Hi, everyone. I didn't expect to come back to Reddit and receive so much support. I honestly wasn't planning any updates, just wanted to share what happened and, if lucky, get some advice. After describing what happened, I closed my computer and plunged into depression. After posting, it felt like I'd been hit by a train. To those who think this is all made up, I'd say that if I were that creative, I'd be writing books, not working 9 to 5. I'll try to tell more in this post. I just logged back in, and honestly, trying to respond to every comment is beyond my capabilities. Just know that I've read most of them, and I truly appreciate everyone's input, both negative and positive. So, the day after posting, I tried to contact my mom, but my calls weren't going through. I wanted to see if she'd agree to have lunch with me so I could tell her everything. After a dozen attempts, I decided to get in my car and drive to her house. She needed to know what happened as soon as possible, even if talking about it would cause new pain. On the way, I thought about what and how I would say it, and that sent me into a panic. I had to stop twice to throw up, because it's not every day you have to tell your mom that her husband is sleeping with your fiancé. I pulled up to the house and stayed in the car for a bit to calm down and collect my thoughts. I was in the car for a few minutes when my mother threw open the door. I got out of the car. She started cursing at me, outraged that I dared to come to her house after hitting my father for trying to break up a fight between me and Elle. She called me every possible swear word and labeled me an abuser. She said I should leave as Elle wasn't ready to forgive me yet, and that, if she was smart, there was hope she'd never forgive me. Yes, it turns out my father brought Elle to our family home and told my mom that Elle and I had fought, and when he tried to break us up, I hit him. She went on for a while longer until I exploded and said, "Seriously, Mom? It all happened because your husband is fucking my fiancée. That's why I hit him. And if you don't believe my word, I have a video. I'll send it. But if my own mother allows herself to talk to me like this, don't expect to see me again. I don't want to hear your apologies when you finally realize you've become as shitty a mother as my piece of garbage father." Her jaw dropped. She looked like I probably did when I first walked into the apartment and caught them. I took out my phone and sent her the video. Mom took out hers and turned it on. She opened the video and watched until the moment I turned on the light. Then she put down the phone, looked at me, but I turned around and walked to my car. I drove away from the house, and before leaving, looked at her. She was in tears. My heart was full of sympathy for her, but too much had been said during the argument for me to back down and forgive her. Back home, I started removing everything related to Elle and my family from the apartment. I gathered all of Elle's belongings and placed them near the front door. Legally, this was her permanent residence, so technically I can't kick her out. Her name isn't on the lease, plus she's the kind of person who avoids conflict, and if she comes back for anything other than to pick up her things, there will be a lot of conflict. Everything related to my parents, I packed up and put into storage. As I mentioned in the first post, we were a very close family, but I've never had a problem cutting toxic people out of my life. I wrote to Elle's parents, told them I was calling off the engagement, and informed them she had cheated on me. I thanked them for everything they had done for me. Our relationship was still in the building phase, but they had been kind to me and supportive in every way, so this only added to the pain. In conclusion, I asked if they could come pick up her belongings. I haven't received a response yet, but I hope they pick up the items so Elle has no reason to return here.